Welcome back to Brutalist Weekly, and for this week's topic, we're going to talk about the state I live in, Wisconsin, and why it sucks. I feel like I want to make this video because, why not? I live here and I just want to make a rant video. I know this isn't the usual content on this channel, but I consider my channel a work in progress, so the theme could be subject to change since I don't really have a subscriber base and I'm still trying to figure things out. So we'll get into what it's like to live here. I know this is supposed to be a rant video about why it sucks to live in Wisconsin, but I think it's only fair if we bring up some pros of living here. And one of the pros I want to talk about first is cost of living. According to salary.com, Wisconsin's overall cost of living is 1% lower than the US national average. The average monthly cost for one person is around $2,450, and for a family of four, that would be 5,400. Of course, it's just an average. It varies from person to person and which stage of their life they're at, but I think overall that tracks pretty well, especially if I compare to my own personal budget, which usually averages around 2,300 to 2,400, 500. The housing cost is 7% lower than the national average. The statewide cost for living across 39 cities averages $2,100 a month, which is 1.12% less expensive than the US average. The second pro of living in Wisconsin, I would say, is overall people are nice. I think this part is mostly my own personal conjecture, but I think overall people are nice, and I have some proof to back this up. I think regardless of your ethnic, religious, or political background, I think that overall people are generally accepting of each other. Of course, there are a lot of people who will make some uneducated comments from time to time, but overall, I don't think I've encountered true discrimination in the sense of not being allowed into an establishment or constant harassment. But, let me know down in the comment section if you agree with me, what I'm saying, or just tell me that I'm an absolute out of touch idiot. To give you some context, I am a Chinese born American, and I feel like I lived a pretty alright life in a sleepy Midwest Wisconsin town. I've heard a lot of eating cat and dog jokes, and I feel like I've been left out of some school activities, but overall, I've been able to make friends, and my current girlfriend is Caucasian herself, and her family generally likes me. I think you could say that I'm, assimilated into my surroundings, but I think to even get to that point, you would need people to be generally accepting of you and other people as well who are different from yourself. My last good point about living here in Wisconsin is we just have good food and beer. Wisconsin has 266 breweries, and we ranked 14th in total breweries and 13th in breweries per capita. I mean, we have New Glarus Spotted Cow, and it's so popular, it ranks among the top 20 craft breweries in the US, despite only being sold in Wisconsin. And as of 2024, we sell around 3.5 million tons of cheese. That's a lot of cheese. I'm pretty sure we are like the number one producer here in the States. I will say I like New Glarus, but I think my go-to for bad days would just be a 4-pack of Steel Reserve. I mean, even though it's not like a Wisconsin exclusive beer, we do have many of the Molson Coors facility here in Wisconsin that brew Steel Reserve. And I'm telling you, something magical about that Quick Trip Beer Cave. You know, get a 4-pack and some cheese. It's a good day. Alright, so now on to why it sucks to live here. And they're all somewhat interconnected with each other. So, the most obvious thing, and first of all, it is cold. It is really cold, or it is baking. The all-time low here in Wisconsin, recorded in February of 1996, was negative 55 degrees Fahrenheit, and the all-time high was 114 degrees Fahrenheit, recorded in Wisconsin Dells in July of 1936. And I can testify that it is freezing from October through April, and from June to around, I would say, even September. If you don't have AC, you're gonna die. Speaking of death, Wisconsin averages 50 cold-related deaths per year. That's crazy. And to back this up, as of January 23rd, we had a low of negative 18, likely colder because of wind chill and just lack of sunlight. And this is compared to the historic low average of 12 degrees Fahrenheit on that day. So realistically, you only have half of April, May, half of June, September to truly and comfortably enjoy the outdoors or just going outside in general. Basically, you only enjoy 1/4 of the year to go outside, which is pretty depressing. And also, on top of the cold, it is dark. I don't know if you work a 9 to 5, but when you wake up, it is dark at 6 a.m. And then, you might commute to work and see a few rays of sunlight. And then you get off of work around 4 or 5, and it is still dark out. I mean, of course, you can take vitamin D supplements, but, nothing beats actual real sunlight. So, yes, on top of it being cold, it is dark as well. The second reason why I don't really enjoy living here is it's just boring. Unless you're an outdoors person, there's literally nothing else to do. I mean, this isn't just a Wisconsin issue or Midwest issue, it's just America in general. It's losing its third places like cafes, diners, bars, community hangouts, just due to the urban design and restaurant chains being standardized. If you don't like hiking or fishing, your options are pretty much Walmart, Culver's, Quick Trip, or just staring at a cornfield. And even if you are an outdoors person, whether you like fishing or hiking, the weather can still make that experience miserable. Wisconsin regularly has weather that hits below 0 wind chill, which causes a spike in ER visits from frostbite and hypothermia. Just from 2010 to 2018, Wisconsin recorded 7,797 cold-related ER visits and nearly 2,500 hospitalizations, which is crazy. My final and last point on why it sucks to live here is just because of the suburban sprawl. You need a car. Unless you live in Milwaukee or Madison, if you don't have a car, you're screwed. You have to pay for gas, maintenance, insurance, etc. And it costs you a lot of money. And also, I just hate driving. Like, why I want to go outside of my boring Midwest town just to go to another boring Midwest town. And yeah, that's going to take you an hour more in transit time just to get there and back. 92% of Wisconsin households own at least one vehicle, and 18% own three or more. That applies to me. There's extremely high car dependency, and outside of Milwaukee or Madison, public transit just minimal or non-existent. And not to mention the carbon emissions from driving these long distances, And even if you do live in Milwaukee or Madison, there's still high car dependency, I see more cars, parking lots, etc. than buses, trams, or trains. So in conclusion, I'm honestly not sure if I truly hate living here, since this is the only place of reference that I have. I have no comparison, no other metrics outside the Midwest. But, as of late, it just feels more and more unbearable to live here. I guess it's the sense of comparing the good reasons to live here versus why it sucks. It just kind of breaks even. But that takes a toll on your mental health when you just live by the rule of settling for less. I'm interested in Eastern Europe because I find fascination with a place similar to the Midwest where it's just cold and depressing, but they have thousands of years of history as compared to us. So, one can argue we are similar in the sense that it's cold and sad, and I do hope one day I can travel there to see for myself outside of my sleepy Midwest town. So, if you like this video, click like and subscribe, and, you can unlock that elite ball knowledge. As always, stay warm and hardy.